Hello guys and welcome to another video. My name's Mark, I'm an entrepreneur and property investor, and in today's video we're going to be talking about what happens when property investing doesn't go all your own way. Now, a lot of people on the internet, they fail to mention the times when property investing doesn't go your own way. And what I wanted to do today was be completely transparent. I did a video last week on Wednesday about a refinance on a property that didn't quite work out exactly as I'd planned. And today what I wanted to do was run through the figures, run through the scenario and tell you exactly what happened and why I was left a little bit out of pocket. If you appreciate this level of transparency, please give this video a massive like. It really helps out the algorithm. And if you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Again, it helps the algorithm, but it also means that you're going to get this content whenever I release it, and I release it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So guys, let's get into the video. Let me tell you all about this property and just when everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. So I bought this house in the middle of lockdown over in Didcot, which is a town in Oxfordshire that I know very, very well. And I bought it, I think I completed in August, but I offered in June. And in June, we agreed to buy this 3-bedroom house, which had been massively extended for 275k. It was on the market previously, I think at 320. It had then been dropped to 290, and we agreed to buy it for 275. Height of pessimism, everyone was saying the sky was falling down. We got it an absolute steal, or so I thought. And in fact, actually, when the figures come through, you'll see it's not that bad, but it certainly didn't go my way. So we've got this property, we understand what we're going to do. We're going to take this 3-bedroom house, which is absolutely massive downstairs and very big upstairs. There's also a big loft. So we're thinking we can convert the loft. There's lots of things we can do to this to turn it into a 5-bedroom, 2-ensuite HMO if we want, 5-bedroom, 1-ensuite and shared bathroom HMO if we want. There's lots and lots of options. So we're thinking great big layout, lots of stuff to do. And it's got a budget of around 25 to 30k for the renovation. Now COVID's in full swing, as you know, and prices of things are starting to go up and it's all starting to get a little bit messy. But we complete the property in August of 2020 and we get ready to go and we get ready to get the work going. Now the first thing we do on this is we do a rip out. So we're getting rid of all the things that are coming out anyway. So we're thinking most of the walls are okay. We're going to be knocking down this wall. We're going to be keeping this one. There's a little bit of a rejiggle around on layout. We're building a new ensuite. So there's a little bit of stuff to be done. But all in all, we're thinking the walls are okay. We're not going to need to replaster. There's not an awful lot to be done. Then we measure the small bedroom and we realize it's 65 square foot. So straight away we realize we have to move one of the big walls across. Is it a stud partition? Is it hell? Of course it's not. So there's loads of extra work that goes into making sure that we can make that bedroom big enough, and we rejig the corridor upstairs. Fine. That's the first added expense. It was probably about £2,000 of additional expense, and really that's down to us not doing our due diligence strong enough. On the plans that we were supplied by the estate agent, it was 70 square foot, or just over. When we actually got there and measured it out, bear in mind we hadn't really been there before because of COVID, we found out it was 65 square foot. So first lesson, make sure you see the property. Number 2, we then started doing the rest of the work and we realized we're going to move the kitchen from one place to another, and we rip out the kitchen and we're looking at the plumbing thinking, oh, this is a bit low pressure, what's up with this? And we go back to a manifold underneath one of the reception rooms, and we find that it's been leaking for about 30 years. It's completely rotten, everything's buggered in it. We're like, oh my God, we need to replace everything in there. Thank God it's where the new kitchen's gonna be. So we do all that, and that adds probably, there's loads of extra work, there's loads of wood that needs replacing. That probably adds another £1,500 to the cost. It's starting to add up. We replace the manifold, we get it all sorted, suddenly the pressure's fantastic. They turn on the water and about 3 of the walls start leaking. And we got water just coming in from the pipes that are running up the side of the house. And it turns out that a lot of those had a very, very slow leak or were very corroded. At this point, we're pretty much re-plumbing the entire house and replastering the whole house and sorting everything out. So we're adding another £2,000 onto the cost. So what started off as a 30k budget quite easily became 40 before you knew it. Now we're thinking, okay, that's okay. The market is starting to pick up. Our end value, originally we were thinking the end value, we were thinking 25 to 30k to spend. End value is going to be about 325k. We were thinking that's pretty good. You know, we're still getting a very good return on investment. In terms of the rent, it was going to be about £3,000 a month, about £1,500 a month profit. Really, really solid. We're thinking the deal's getting better and better every day because this end value is just starting to go up. We're watching the property market just start to rise and rise and rise, and anybody who's involved in 2020 knows that the market just took off. And this 325 was becoming 350, then we're thinking 375. Remember, this is a very, very big 3-bedroom house. It'd been massively extended. It had a 5-metre extension on the back downstairs, and it was a very large property. So we were thinking 5-bedroom HMO, it's going to be 325. Now we're thinking 340, 350, 360. And we're thinking, okay, well, there's this extra expense. It's all going to come out in the wash pretty well. Did it come out in the wash okay? Did it hell? No way. It did not come out in the wash. And this is the next thing that went wrong. So first of all, our budget for our building work came massively over budget. Now, these are the things that do happen sometimes. I've had it before where I've started a project and you just start uncovering issues that are completely hidden. There's not a lot you can do about that. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I've also had projects where we thought we had to do things and actually we found things that were a better condition than we thought. So it does work both ways. I don't want to put you off in any way, shape or form. But the next part of this was the revaluation. I want to tell you what happened with that because I didn't get the revaluation I was looking for. So I'm going to wipe this off and we'll look at the revaluation. So this is where this project just went from bad to worse, and hopefully all of this is up. We've got our rent. We've actually managed, we're fast forwarding now to December, we've actually managed to rent out all the rooms and we're getting £3,000 a month. And we think we're onto a real winner. We think the end value is definitely going to come in somewhere around 350k. We're looking at comparables in the area, and I urge anybody to have a quick look in Didcot and see what the cheapest 4-bedroom house. And if you look at the square footage of a 4-bed, this house has a similar square footage to an average 4-bed in the area. It's a very large 3-bed that we started with because it was extended by this 5 metres out the back. So we're thinking 350, 375, something like that. And we go out to the first mortgage lender and we put in for 350. We supply them with some examples of things that we think might give some comparables. They ask for a schedule of works, which we supply and show all the works that we've done along with the before pictures and the afters so that you can see just what an extensive job we've done on this property, alongside the fact that the market has improved so significantly in the area. The valuer comes back, very, very happy with everything we've done. However, he says, we don't yet have a HMO license, so he can't put a value on it and values it at 0 today. However, if we get the HMO license sorted, he will increase the value. Now, at the same time, the council aren't issuing HMO licenses until COVID allows them to get back in the office. So we have a draft license, and they've said it's absolutely fine for us to use the draft license, and they'll get the standard license out as soon as they possibly can. Now, this to's and fro's for about a month because nobody's answering the phone, everybody's working remotely. It's an absolute pain. Eventually, we get the mortgage company to agree on the fact that we're going to use the draft license, and the council will get us the full license whenever they can. The mortgage company are happy with this. The valuer comes back and goes, okay, well, in that case, I'm going to value it at 310,000. And he cites the reason that there are no comparable properties that have sold in the local area for more, which is fair enough, to be honest. There is no big demand in Didcot for HMOs. There's a strong demand, but there's not a big market, so they're not constantly being turned over. So I can see where he's coming from, that there's no comparables. But I'm not going for a commercial valuation, I'm going for a standard bricks and mortar valuation, and I'm looking for him to put it as comparables as a residential property. Anyway, we get this 310, and he basically says it's purchase price plus the value of the work that you've done. That's how I'm going to value it. We're not happy with that. We speak to our mortgage broker. She's not happy with it. The mortgage company aren't particularly happy with it, but they're going to stick with it. And we decide, let's roll the dice, let's go again. So we stick with the broker, we go to another lender, we get through the process very, very quickly. About a month later, we've got the valuer out, and lo and behold, it's the same valuer because it's a small town and there's not that many in the area. And he values it at 310,000. Would you believe it? So there's an appeals process we can go down. We start the appeal. It quickly becomes apparent we're not going to get anywhere with that. And we just have to say, Is there any other valuers? Is there anything else we can do? And we're speaking to the mortgage company and there's just nothing. They're going to stick to the 310, which is the value of the property that we bought plus the work done. And that is as far as they're going to go. At this point, the market's moved on even further. We're now into March 2021 and the market, we're looking at 3 beds averaging 350 and we're like, we just can't believe how low this value is coming back. But at the same time, the valuer is saying none of these transactions have completed and there are no comparable sold prices to your property. We're sticking with 310. We take our loss, we decide that we're going to get it through and we go through at 310. Now, that you would think would be the end of it in March. It wasn't. It took until July the 30th for that mortgage to finally come through. There were so many hold-ups with solicitors, so much hold-ups with the valuer getting certain documentation over to the mortgage company. It was just a pain from start to finish. In less time, I managed to offer, buy, renovate, and refinance a second property. It was just a nightmare from start to finish. But what's the lesson? Why am I telling you about this? Well, I'm telling you about this because not always does property go the way that you want it to do. The best plans I had in place, all of the advice I could get, and I just couldn't get this valuer to get me anywhere near somewhere reasonable. And again, to anyone looking at this, have a look in Didcot at 4 or 5 bedroom HMOs. You might find one on Rightmove. They're selling for 375 to 450. We couldn't get past 310. That was the number, that was all he was going to do. So we've signed at that and we're going to have a 2-year fixed, and in a year or two, once the market has proved the value of the property, then we'll be able to refinance again. But what I really want to highlight is that it just doesn't always go exactly the way you planned. It doesn't always go badly like this. Personally done 13 deals, I've been in the middle of about 50, and only about 5 or 10% don't go the way that you're expecting. So it's not a huge number that don't go the way that you're planning. But when it does, and when there just isn't a solution, and sometimes there just isn't a solution, like in this instance, we couldn't get past this value, you've got to take your loss, you've got to move on. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope this has given you some insight that just sometimes property doesn't go all your own way. In the long run, am I going to be okay? Of course I am. I've managed to refinance £25,000 out of it. Okay, I've got quite a lot more capital tied up in this deal than I'd expected to. I'm still making rental profit of £1,450 a month, which incidentally the valuer couldn't believe, and I had to supply other tenancy agreements, and even then he questioned whether they were legitimate. So we really did have to then get bank statements to prove it. It was absolutely insane the amount of due diligence they were doing, but ultimately that was proven. Everything was proven, but we still couldn't get past this value. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said, if you could give it a big like, it massively helps me out. Give me a subscribe, I would massively appreciate that as well. And I'll see you on the next video. Cheers guys.